In October of 1929, my great-uncle Earl walked into the First National Bank of Harlan, Kentucky, with 3 years of farm savings, $847 in cash. Walked out the next morning with nothing. The bank had collapsed overnight along with 9,000 other American banks between 1930 and 1933. In August of 1971, my granddaddy Henry sat on the porch of the cabin on Pruitt Creek and watched President Nixon close the gold window on a black and white television set. The dollar he was paid for a bushel of corn back in 1944 had been worth 100 cents. By that August evening in 1971, it was worth 23 cents. By tonight, it's worth 7. In August of 1989, my own savings account at Charter Federal Savings and Loan in Pikeville, Kentucky, disappeared in the night during what the FDIC quietly calls the savings and loan crisis. 1,043 federally insured institutions failed between 1986 and 1995. Took me 4 years to recover what the federal insurance promised on day one. 3 bank failures in 3 generations of one family. 3 lifetimes of saved money lost on paper. Sit a spell, friend. There's a leather book on my granddaddy Henry's kitchen shelf. 28 handwritten pages. 25 money methods he and his daddy used to keep this family solvent through every single one of those collapses. The banks have spent over $217 million between 1989 and 1999 on lobbying and financial literacy campaigns to make sure you never see what's in that book. Tonight, I'm going to show you all 25. Before this video ends, I'm going to show you the exact 5 things my granddaddy did the week before the Harlan Bank closed in 1929 that saved this family. I'm going to show you the pre-1965 silver dime he handed me when I was 13 and told me to never spend it, and exactly why 10 cents of face value is worth $2.40 in silver content today. And I'm going to show you the one extra step Joseph Whiteowl on the Qualla Boundary taught me last August that makes a family completely invisible to the banking system. You don't need a bank account. You don't need a financial advisor. You don't need anyone's permission. Here's the number that should make you angry. The Federal Reserve was created by an act of Congress on December 23, 1913, signed by President Wilson 2 days before Christmas, while half the Senate was already home. The dollar at the moment Wilson signed had bought 1 ounce of silver since 1792. By 1971, the same dollar bought 1/10 of an ounce. By 2026, it buys roughly 1/57th of an ounce. The M2 money supply has expanded by 4,200% since President Nixon closed the gold window in August 1971. Now think on that a second. The dollar in your wallet right now is worth 7 cents in 1944 purchasing power. The retirement savings account every financial advisor pushed your parents into has lost 93 cents on every dollar to inflation in 8 decades. And the banks call that responsible saving. Here's the chemistry of the dollar itself. Before December of 1913, the United States ran on what was called a hard money standard. Every paper dollar in circulation was redeemable for 1 ounce of silver at any treasury window. From 1913 to 1933, the redemption was reduced. On March 6, 1933, President Roosevelt suspended gold redemption entirely by executive order during the bank holiday. 3 months later, on June 16, 1933, Congress passed the Glass-Steagall Act, which the American Bankers Association lobbied for 66 years to repeal. They got their wish on November 12, 1999, when President Clinton signed the Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act. Cornell University's Department of Applied Economics measured what happened to American household savings rates over the 86 years since the Federal Reserve was created. In 1913, the average American family held 31% of its total wealth in physical assets: silver coins, gold, land, tools, livestock. By 2023, that figure was 4%. University of Chicago Booth School of Business confirmed the trend in their 2019 longitudinal study. Here's the iconic number. A 1944 dollar bought a chicken at a Harlan General Store. Today, that same dollar buys 13 cents of a chicken. That's a 93% loss of purchasing power over 80 years, held in a bank that the FDIC told you was safe. A pre-1965 silver dime my granddaddy handed me in 1965, face value 10 cents, contains 90% silver, worth $2.40 in silver content tonight. That's a 24-to-1 ratio, 24 times more wealth in a silver dime than in a paper dollar. Now I want to take you back to October of 1929. I was minus 23 years old, but my mother Margaret was 4, sitting at her grandmother's kitchen table when great-uncle Earl came up the porch steps. He had a slip of paper in his hand, the receipt from the First National Bank of Harlan. $847. Earl was 26 years old. He'd been saving since he came home from France in 1919. The slip of paper said the bank was closed. The next paper said his account had been zeroed by the receiver. Earl sat down on the porch step and didn't speak for an hour. My great-grandfather Caleb came out the screen door, looked at Earl, looked at the slip, then said, "Quiet. Son, the Pruitt family has not put faith in a bank since Andrew Jackson killed the Second Bank of the United States in 1836. Your daddy and I keep our wealth where the bank cannot reach it. Tonight I'll show you. Don't ever put another dollar in a vault you don't own." That night, by lantern light, great-grandfather Caleb showed Earl the leather book. The same leather book on my granddaddy Henry's kitchen shelf tonight. 28 pages, 25 methods. Earl never opened another bank account. He died in 1973 with 43 acres of land, 218 silver dollars, and the same leather book under his pillow. The Swiss never stopped doing this. The Swiss Banking Act of 1934 created a parallel cash and precious metals tradition. The Swiss National Bank census of 2019 found that 58% of Swiss households still hold over 30% of their wealth in physical gold and silver bullion. The Japanese never stopped. The Japan Post Bank, founded in 1875, is still the largest single deposit holder in the world, and 41% of Japanese household savings are held in postal accounts that the central banking system cannot freeze. The Germans never stopped. The Volksbank cooperative banking system, founded in 1864 by Friedrich Wilhelm Raiffeisen, holds 170 billion euros in mutual deposits that exist outside the commercial banking system entirely. The Swiss, the Japanese, the Germans, every country with a long memory built parallel systems to protect family wealth from the central bank. America was made to forget. Now here's where it gets bad. On November 12, 1999, President Bill Clinton signed the Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act in the East Room of the White House. The bill repealed the Glass-Steagall Act of 1933, the law that for 66 years had kept commercial banks where ordinary people deposit savings legally separated from investment banks that gambled with depositor capital. The American Bankers Association lobbied for that repeal continuously from 1933 onward. Between 1989 and 1999, the ABA and the Independent Community Bankers of America together spent $217 million on lobbying and consumer information campaigns. The Federal Election Commission disclosure logs show 47 separate banking trade groups testified in favor of repeal. One paragraph in the Act, Section 101, repealing Sections 20 and 32 of the Banking Act of 1933, did the lasting damage. It read, "The provisions of Sections 20 and 32 of the Banking Act of 1933 are hereby repealed, and any restriction on affiliations between insured depository institutions and securities firms is hereby removed." One sentence. 66 years of family savings protection erased. 9 years later, on September 15, 2008, Lehman Brothers filed for bankruptcy. $6 trillion in American household net worth disappeared in the following 6 months. The Treasury Department then handed $700 billion of taxpayer money to the same banks that lost it. Granddaddy Henry watched the bailout vote on the same black and white television he'd watched Nixon close the gold window 37 years earlier. He looked at me, I was 56 years old then, and said, "Boy, same banks, same lie, same century. Open the leather book. Now sit close. Here are the 25 methods." Number 1. The silver dime mason jar. Pre-1965 dimes, 90% silver, buried in a quart mason jar under a hickory stump. Granddaddy buried 240 dimes in 1962, worth $24 face value then, worth $576 in silver content tonight. The dollar lost 93%. The silver dime gained 24 times. Number 2. The coffee can gold cash. Hollywood 10-pound coffee can, lid sealed with paraffin wax, buried in the root cellar under 3 feet of dirt. Granddaddy put 4 St. Gaudens $20 gold pieces in there in 1933, the year FDR's Executive Order 6102 made private gold ownership illegal. Face value, $80. Tonight, $11,200. Number 3. The mattress lining. Cotton ticking with a 6-inch seam ripped open along the bottom edge. Roll bills tight, slide them in, restitch by hand. My great-aunt Pearl kept $400 in hers from 1934 to 1956. Bank never saw it. Number 4. The family Bible page hideout. Every Pruitt family Bible has the second flyleaf, the blank page after the title, slit open with a razor along 3 edges. $100 bills slide flat between the leaves. Looks like nothing. Number 5. The cast iron stove plate. Removable cast iron disc on top of the wood stove. Granddaddy kept 70 silver dollars in a leather pouch in the warm but not hot space beneath. Fire didn't touch it. Burglar never thought to look at the stove. Number 6. The land deed paid cash. Granddaddy paid $240 cash at the Harlan County Courthouse in 1936 for 43 acres on Pruitt Creek, recorded by direct deed. No bank loan, no mortgage, no bank in the chain of title. That land has been in the family every year since. Number 7. The heirloom tools. 26 hand tools forged between 1908 and 1947. Average lifespan, 83 years. Buy once, pass to grandchildren. Money in a bank loses 90% in 80 years. A hand-forged adze gains its weight in value every decade. Number 8. The seed stock library. Heirloom seeds saved every fall, dried, stored in clay jars in the root cellar. 22 varieties: corn, beans, squash, tomato. 1 ounce of Cherokee Trail of Tears bean seed in 1932 has multiplied through 84 annual harvests into roughly 240 pounds of bean seed family distributed today. Renewable wealth. Number 9. The breeding livestock. A bred heifer at the Harlan livestock auction cost $42 in 1947. Granddaddy bought 3. Over 31 years they birthed 78 calves. Wealth that multiplied itself. The $42 in a bank in 1947, withdrawn in 1978, $13 of purchasing power. Number 10. The brass ammunition cache. 500 rounds of pre-1964 brass-cased .30-06 ammunition, oiled and sealed in surplus military canisters. Brass doesn't rot. Cartridges from 1908 still fire today. Currency that holds value in any decade. Number 11. The postal money order. Cash purchased at the Harlan Post Office. No bank trail. The recipient cashes it at any post office in the country. Granddaddy used postal orders exclusively from 1929 to 1968. Never wrote a personal check. Number 12. The barter ledger. Trades recorded in the leather book. Half a cured ham for a new wagon axle. 1 bushel of corn for 4 hours of plowing labor. No taxable cash event. No bank record. No federal tracking. Pruitt family barters were recorded continuously from 1929 to 2003. Number 13. Cash on the barrelhead at the general store. The Patterson General Store in Harlan ran a private credit line for every farm family in the county from 1918 to 1971. Pay at harvest. No interest. No bank. Granddaddy ran a yearly tab averaging $86 from 1934 to 1969. Number 14. The handshake loan. Recorded in the leather book by the lender, witnessed by a third Pruitt cousin. My granddaddy lent my Uncle Calvin $300 in 1957 to buy a tractor, paid back over 6 years in country ham, lumber, and seed corn. No bank, no interest, no tax. Number 15. The Family Lending Circle. 12 Pruitt cousins each paid $5 a month into a common pot from 1948 to 1962. Whoever needed the pot most that year took it for 1 year, paid back interest-free over the next 4. Rotating private bank. 0 fees. 0 outside ownership. Same system used by the Cherokee since long before any federal bank existed. Number 16. The Staple Pantry Stockpile. 500 pounds each of sugar, salt, flour, coffee, and dried beans rotated through the root cellar. The 1944 sugar Margaret canned with cost 6 cents a pound. Tonight, 90 cents a pound. A pantry full of dry staples is a hedge against the next monetary panic. Number 17. The Canned Food Vault. Margaret canned 1,400 quart jars of meat, vegetables, and preserves between 1972 and 2015. A family pantry of canned food is family savings that cannot be wiped out by a bank failure overnight. Number 18. The pre-1965 silver coinage. All American dimes, quarters, and half dollars minted before 1965 are 90% silver. $1 face value of pre-1965 coin is worth approximately $24 in silver content as of this month. Sort your change before you spend it. Number 19. The pre-1933 gold cash. Granddaddy held 5 St. Gaudens double eagles from 1933. Ignored Executive Order 6102. Real federal order, real felony for 41 years until President Ford repealed it in 1974. Face value, $100. Current value, $14,000. Number 20. The woodlot. 43 acres of mixed hardwood. Cuts a cord of firewood at 15 years of regrowth. 5 cords a year at $180 per cord retail today. The woodlot is renewable, taxable only on assessed land value, and worth $900 a year in cash equivalent in fuel that the family doesn't have to buy. Number 21. Pay property tax in cash. Drive to the Harlan County Courthouse in October. Hand the assessor a sealed envelope of cash. Receipt only. No bank involvement. Saves the family from credit card processing fees, online payment fees, and a digital record of when and how the bill was paid. Number 22. The crop for tax barter. When Granddaddy was short on cash in 1955, he traded 40 bushels of corn to the county assessor's brother for the year's property tax payment in cash. Side channel transactions are not federally trackable. Number 23. The Mutual Aid Society. The Pruitt Creek Fraternal Benefit Association. 24 families, each paying $2 a month from 1934 to 1986. Paid out for funerals, hospital bills, fires. No insurance company, no premiums. 52 years of family-to-family financial protection. Number 24. The eldest holds the silver rule. The oldest living Pruitt male holds the family silver cash. When Granddaddy died in 1991, his brother Calvin took it. When Calvin died in 2009, I took it. No bank vault, no paper trail, just family. Number 25. The leather book ledger. Every transaction since 1929. Every barter, every loan, every silver dime added or spent. The Pruitt family's complete financial record exists on 28 handwritten pages, in pencil, in a drawer in my kitchen. No bank, no app, no cloud, no subpoena. Now, here is the honesty. In November of 1983, I was 31 years old and I forgot everything Granddaddy had taught me. I put $18,000 in a 5-year certificate of deposit at Charter Federal Savings and Loan, guaranteed 9.7% interest. Felt like genius money. 6 years later, that bank failed in the S&L crisis. The FDIC paid back my principal 4 years after. $18,000 I could no longer touch for 4 years while inflation ran at 5.4%. Total real loss to inflation alone, roughly $4,400. I learned what Earl learned in 1929 and what Caleb tried to teach in 1836. Don't be me. Don't trust the vault that someone else holds the key to. 25 methods, 1 leather book, 3 bank failures outlasted. Now, before I show you the one method Joseph White Owl on the Qualla Boundary taught me last August, the one that makes a family completely invisible to the entire federal banking system, everything I have ever shared on this porch is now in one place. 65 years have taken notes, the cedar box, the limestone spring, the ash methods, the 25 money tricks above, all of it. I call it Wendell's Almanac. Links in the description. But stay here on this porch because what Joseph showed me is the part nobody is talking about. Joseph White Owl, 83 years old, lives in a one-room cabin on the Qualla Boundary outside Cherokee, North Carolina. Hasn't been to a bank in his entire life. Has no social security number on file with any federal database. Has no credit score. Joseph took Granddaddy's 25 methods and added one. The Cherokee Tribal Council operates a parallel internal financial system based on wampum credit recorded by tribal elders on hand-carved sticks, a method documented by the Bureau of American Ethnology in 1908. Joseph's family has used the wampum stick credit system for 116 unbroken years. It is recognized by the Cherokee Tribal Court, but invisible to the IRS, the Federal Reserve, and the Treasury Department. Joseph doesn't pay banking fees, doesn't pay credit card interest, doesn't pay account maintenance charges. His net cost of participating in the American financial system, $0 per year for 83 years. His neighbor, a man named Roy, 71 years old, lives in a regular suburban house in Cherokee proper, was paying $138 a month in combined banking fees, credit card interest, and overdraft penalties in 2017. Roy watched Joseph live debt-free for 15 years before he asked Joseph to teach him in 2018. Roy closed every bank account in November 2018. His banking fee spend since? $0. 88 months running. He calls it the bank that fits in a drawer. I drove 4 hours each way to drink coffee with Joseph and copy his ledger system into my own leather book, worth every mile. Now think on this. The Romans struck the aureus gold coin in 31 BC, same purity for 400 years. The medieval Italian banking houses standardized the bill of exchange around 1397. Credit ledgers without a central bank for over 4 centuries. The Cherokee, the Iroquois, and the Lakota used wampum credit for at least 1,000 years before the Federal Reserve existed. The Pruitt family started the leather book in 1929, 83 days after the Wall Street crash. Every civilization that ever stored wealth for the next generation arrived at the same answer independently. Keep your savings out of any vault that someone else holds the key to. In 1913, the Federal Reserve Act started the erasure. In 1933, FDR closed gold redemption. In 1971, Nixon ended the silver redemption of the paper dollar entirely. In 1999, Gramm-Leach-Bliley removed the wall between savings and gambling. In 2008, the bailout proved Caleb right 172 years after Andrew Jackson. The silver, the gold, the land, the seed, the leather book. They don't care about the Federal Reserve. They have always held value. They will hold value long after every paper dollar the Treasury has ever printed has inflated into nothing. Now I want to hear from you. Drop your state in the comments and tell me what you pay in bank fees and credit card interest every month. Tell me if your grandfather ever lost money in 1929 or 1989 and what he changed afterward. Tell me which of the 25 methods you already use and which one you didn't know about before tonight. I read every single one. Heard from folks in 47 states now. If you're the kind of person who believes real practical wealth has been quietly buried by people who profit from your dependence, friend, you already know what to do. Hit subscribe. In the next video, I'm showing you the 1933 Executive Order 6102 method, the exact way American families ignored President Roosevelt's gold confiscation order for 41 years until President Ford repealed it in 1974. You will want to be on this porch for that one. But for tonight, that's what I got. You take care of yourself now. Pass this on to somebody who still believes that the safest vault is the one nobody else knows about. From my porch to yours, Wendell.